So in today's video, we are going to see few very basic points of C++. That is how to take inputs, how to take user inputs, correct? How to print the outputs, what is a test case loop, what is a test case variable. You may have seen this in many questions, how to take a test case variable. Okay, a test case variable is used in many questions. Now how to output, how to input, how to output, and how to take test case variable, how to use test case variable. Okay, we are going to see these three things. These are the very basics of any language. Fine, so let's see this in C++. So we are given a question. The question says you have to take two inputs from the user and print their sum as output, okay. So for example, we are going to take 4 and 5 and print 9 as an output. Fine. Or we are going to take 5 and 7 and print 12 as an output. Okay, so there are two inputs and one output, and this is my input and output format. Fine. Now what is the meaning of input and output format here? Because you have seen this also. So in input format, what we have is simple. There are two inputs in the input format, two inputs and nothing else. And in the output format, there is just one single variable, or you can say one single output, one single integer that represents the sum, that is one single integer and nothing else. So you do not have to write these things down, that take two inputs in printf or in cout, take two inputs, or enter two numbers, okay, or like this, sum of two numbers is sum at the end, sum of two numbers is equal to sum. So you do not have to do these all things. Fine, because in the output format there is just one single integer, so you just have to print the sum directly. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to take two variables, that is two inputs from the user. Okay, store these inputs in two variables, then print the sum. It is very easy. So let's start with hash include iostream. This is iostream. Then using namespace std. Fine. So now what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of these two lines are explained in the video lectures. Okay, both the meanings are explained in the video lectures. Int main and here return 0. Okay, these all things, int main, namespace, std, iostream, are in the video lectures. Okay, we just need to take two inputs, 4 and 5 or 5 or 7, correct? So what we have to do is we have to take two variables to store these inputs. So let's say the variable names are a and b. So int a, int b. So what is the meaning of this line? This line is nothing but we are declaring two variables. We are declaring two variables of type int. What is the meaning of type int? Variables. Okay. What is the meaning of type int? That is both the variables a and b are of type integer. Okay. Now what is the meaning of this thing? That is a and b can only store integer values. Okay. So 3 and 5 and 4 and 5 are all integer values. So this is okay. Then cin and two angular brackets a and then again two angular brackets b. So this means that now we are taking user input. Cin means we are taking user input. Okay, if you are familiar with C, this is nothing but scanf. It is scanf %d and here %a, %b. Okay, this is nothing but scanf. You can use scanf in C++ also. You can use this line instead of this line if you are familiar with C++. If you are familiar with C. Okay, and what is the meaning of these two slashes that I am using? These are comments. You will know what are comments in the video lectures as well. Okay, there it is explained what are comments. Fine. So we have now two inputs, that is a and b. Our values are stored inside a and b. So let's take one more variable, int result, and we will store in the result a plus b. Okay, a plus b. So we have our result now. If we input 4 and 5 are stored in a and b will give us 4 plus 5, that is nothing equal to 9, and that 9 is stored in the variable result. Okay, then what we have to do, we have to output it. So cout, for our output we use cout. that is nothing but result. That is nothing but result, and it's done. And it's done. Okay, so what we are doing, we are taking two input variables and we are printing our output variable. Okay, and these variables store the values. These variables store the values. Obviously you can use here printf also, as you have used in C. Okay, so we can use %d and here result. Now as you have seen that I haven't written the sum of variable a and b equals to result. No, you just have to print the result and nothing else. So let's now run the program and let's take the inputs. For example, if I give 4 and 5, the input will become 9, the output will become 9. Okay, so here 4 and 5, so the output is 9. So if I have to test it one more time, so I have to run it once again and I have to input 5 and 7, so the output will become 12. Now if I want to test it once again for some other input values, for example 10 and 100, so the output will be 110. Then again if I have to test it, I have to again run it, and this time for example 20 and 30, so the output will become 50, as you can see here. Okay, so whenever I need to test my code, for different values, I have to run it again and again. So to reduce that, we have a test case variable. Okay, so in the input format changes. Now what you have is first line contains test case variable. Okay, test case variable t. Okay, this tells us that how many times do you want to test your program, and then each of the next t lines contains two inputs. Okay, t lines contains two inputs. That is nothing but a and b. Fine. So this is what we mean by a test case variable. Okay, now for output format also, what is changes, for each test case, print one single integer that shows the sum. So for example, I have to test my program 4 times, so I will write test case variable as 4, and in the next 4 lines, that is each of the next t lines, so in the next 4 lines I will give two inputs, for example 3 and 5, 5 and 7, 10 and 100, 20 and 30. Okay, in a single program. So this was nothing but our input, our sample input. Correct. Then what will be our sample output? So the output will be 3 plus 5 equals to 9 for the first test case, 7 plus 5 is 12 for the second test case, 110 for the third test case, and 20 plus 30 is 50 for the fourth test case. Now in a single program, by running a single time, we can test our program by 4 times. So for that, just take a single variable in t, c in t, and this program now needs to run t times. This whole 4 lines of my code needs to run for how many times? T number of times. So for in these cases we use loop. Now if you do not know about loops and what is increment and decrement operators, for example if t is not equal to 0, if I write it here, so this is all explained in the video lectures. Okay, in the end t equals to t minus 1. So for example t value is 4, so what happens here? 4 will come. Okay, is 4 equal to 0? No, it is not equal to 0, so we will come inside, and here t value will be decrement to 3. Then here t value is 3, then t value will be decrement to 2, then to 1, and then to 0. So how many times it ran? It ran for 4 times. It will not run for 0 time. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is how my program will run for 4 times. Now let's see. So I will run it, and now what I can do is I can simply put this input. In a single line. So let's say 4, 3, 5. So the answer is 8. Correct. 5 and 7. So the answer is 12. 10 and 100. So the answer is 110. 20 and 30. So the answer is 50. So as you can see here, now I do not have to run my program so many number of times. I do not have to run the program 4 number of times because of my test case loop. So this was how test case loop is taken. Okay, and this is how we take the inputs of variables. This is using cin or scanf in C++. Then this is the result, that is storing the value of a plus b, and then we are printing the result. Okay, this is how it is done. Fine. So these were the basics of C++. Okay, or any language. This is how you take the input, this is how you output the result. Okay, then this is about the test case loop that is used extensively in competitive programming. Okay, in almost every question you will get a test case loop, and it is nothing, it is same lines. Every time you have to write these 3 lines. In T, take the test case input, use the while loop, and at the end use these 2 lines. Okay, in between these lines you have to write your code. In between these lines you have to write your code. So every time what you have to do, you have to just do this, write your code here. Okay, so in between these lines you have to write the code every time, write the code. Fine. So whatever your code is, just write that code, and after that wrap it in this while loop, these 4 lines. Okay, and in this between you have to write the code. This is nothing but my test case loop. This is nothing but the test case loop, and it is used extensively in competitive programming. So this is how you take input and print the output. It is very, very, very simple. Fine. Thank you.